Hello, guys. This is a review of the movie Disturbia. I actually reviewed Disturbia a while back, but I decided to re review it as I'm doing with several other films at this moment because I look back at them and everything is wrong. And Disturbia is one of my favorite films actually within the genre. I believe I purchased it close to the time of the original release or its original release because I've been collecting DVDs and Blu-rays. I have hundreds of them behind me. I know you can't see them, but they're there. I'm not rich. I've been accumulating them throughout the years for a very long time. I bought this one at Walmart. I was barely starting on my collection back then. Must have been what, 2008, 2009. And I really liked it. It's so good. I'm not sure, but I mean it stars Shia LaBeouf obviously, and I think it was pre-Transformers, at least taped pre or at simultaneously. The point I think being is that they came out very close to each other, but I think they gave Transformers a chance to go first so that it could build, shy. But that doesn't have anything to do with the movie. I'm just kind of giving you a timeline of when I watched it, and then I reviewed it years later, but it was still kind of whack. So let's go ahead and try again. Most of my reviews are whack, honestly, but I mean, I give it soul. I give it my heart and my soul. Disturbia, let's talk a little bit about the plot and then I'll get into my opinions about the film. The movie follows a story, and don't confuse Disturbia with Rihanna's song, obviously. Kale, he is a teenager. He's just your average guy. He doesn't have any serious problems that they make mention of. He loves his mom and his dad. They're out fishing. On their way back, he's talking on the phone with his mom, and this guy drives past them, and there's a collision in the front that they don't get to see. One, because they're kind of busy talking, and two, because last minute the driver that passes them swerves to the left and manages to skip out of that accident, but they are going so fast and it was so abrupt that they just turn the wheel and end up spinning, and then they get hit by a huge truck or I think it was a, it's not a tow truck, was it? Irrelevant. The point is that his father passes away, and now that's a hardship that he has to cope with for the rest of his life. We then go back to school. His best friend is, I'm gonna call him Ronnie. I think that's his name. They're in Spanish class. He's making a fool of himself. Ronnie, I mean his friend. When they ask Kale to read out his the assignment that they gave him, he doesn't know how to do it. So the Spanish teacher goes up to him and tells him, "What would your father think?" or something like that. That triggers him. He punches him, and he gets house arrest for like 3 months or something like that. You could imagine what that does to the psyche of a teenager when they're growing up, when they want to be out, they want to see things, they want to explore. Uh, he starts to go crazy, not crazy as in like mentally, like clinically crazy, or like breaking things and stuff like that. Not things of that nature. He begins to stalk people, spy on them with binoculars. Is it binoculars? I know that in Spanish it's binoculares. Sometimes I just switch the languages, sorry. But yeah, those things. He knows what time his neighbor walks in, what time he cheats on his wife, what time the kids are doing this, da 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 da. And he notices this hot girl moving in right next door. I forget her name, but she's, every time I refer to she is probably going to be her. After a little while of like the whole like, oh, let me see you, wow, I'm not seeing you, I'm not spying on you, she realizes that he's spying on her, and instead of calling the cops as one who would normally do in that situation, she goes over because she has problems of her own, like she doesn't like her parents, whatever. And when she goes over, Ronnie, Kale's friend, is there as well, and they explain to her, hey, we've been spying on people, but it's for a good reason. There's this psycho killer living right there, like next to us. He's a neighbor. And this guy, like, they were going over a crime that happened in Texas, I believe, and then they described the vehicle that he was driving, and it's the same vehicle that he has, and he's into redheaded women. they start stalking him in particular and chasing him around. And they're like, I mean, they get some pretty solid clues, but then the killer finds a way, and then we later find out that he is a killer. Spoilers ahead, obviously. Then we realize that it was really him. So in the end, everything is okay, and he doesn't kill anybody of their family or friends. That's basically the whole plot. But the movie's way more interesting than that. I don't do these films justice when I talk about them. This movie is so much fun. You know, when you watch a movie, like if you're my age back in like 2000s, and you're like, yeah, I can't remember this movie, and then you watch it again, and it's like, it was not as good as I thought. This is not that. This movie, I rewatched it like last week, and I was like, this movie's so damn good. This movie's good. This movie's fun. It has the creeps. And knowing what I know now, because back then when I watched it for the first time, I didn't have a very large catalog of movies in my head, but now I do. So there's a lot of, they pay homage to a lot of the classics. Like even the appearance of the killer in this movie resembles Hannibal Lecter, Anthony Hopkins, who played Hannibal Lecter, as we all should know. But yeah, I mean, it has a lot of funny parts too. They don't take it too seriously, but they do so. They do take it seriously to a, how can I phrase this? They take it seriously enough for us to enjoy a quality film, but not so much where you have these teenagers like totally freaked out and trying to shoot an Oscar worthy performance. Which, by the way, I'm not taking anything away from these actors. Shia, we already know he's very devoted, and all the other actors are also really good. The girl, I'm sorry for forgetting her name, but I've seen her in other movies as well. She's always solid. Everyone in the movie did a very good job. The movie has a amazing pace. When I watched the first scene, it hurt me so much. And thanks to Shia's performance, it kept hurting me every time they make mention of it. And you could see it in his eyes, the trouble and the pain that it causes him to remember the death of his father. And there's also that playfulness and that new world, where you're introduced to your own sexuality and what that means. They're probably like what, 17 years old. So at that age, there's a lot of things going on. So they make it very playful and very in a way unrealistic, just in the sense that girls don't really flirt with you the way that she does. This girl flirts with him from the very beginning and doesn't stop flirting until they're actually, boyfriend and girlfriend. I mean, don't make it official, but it's intended that way, at least from my understanding. There's a scene, for example, when she decides to have a party with the school kids, and he's like, I didn't know you were going to conform so fast. Like, basically calling her a sellout, like, you're going to be with the cool kids now instead of being with me. And like, he's super jealous, and she flips on me. She's like, yo, like, you don't own me. I'm paraphrasing, of course. And then he tells her, you know what I know about you? Like, I have been stalking you, but I know that you do this, every time you walk out the door, and you like to read these books, and you have to do this. And then she just kisses him and they make up. So it has romance. You see me absorbing the love. This movie has a lot of things that you could take from it. It has fun, it has creepiness. Um, Maybe they could have added a little more gore and a little more terror. Like, I could have enjoyed the killer actually killing the mom. But at the same time, I know that that would have been maybe like way too much for Kale to handle after the death of his father. So that makes sense from like a written script type of thing. But visually, if we're gonna have a thriller, then I would have imagined it would have been a little bit more intense in that sense. But it is a teen thriller, so you give some things depending on whatever subgenre you're working with. But yeah, I mean, Disturbius, like I said, it holds up to this day. Check it out if you haven't already done so, or if you watched it a while ago, you're thinking, is it really worth it? It's really worth it. It's so much fun. Fun is the right word to describe this movie. Fun and effective. I give Disturbia a rating of 10 out of 10 in its category. Such a fun time. Um, ah, Very good acting. they don't make movies like this very often anymore. I feel like even back then when it came out, they still took it seriously, but nowadays not so much. Before I do end it, I bought this Blu-ray version. Um, Pretty cool. And I got this lenticular. I think that's what this is called. Lenticular slipcover. At least that's what I'm calling it, because that's how you order it online. But this right here, underneath the slipcover, is the original DVD that I purchased all those years ago. I still have them. This is one of my, maybe within the first 7 DVDs that I purchased, maybe. And it's still here. Look at it. Gosh, so amazing. That's why I was like, I'm gonna get you some like protection, and visually appealing protection at that. But yeah, I guess that's it for this one. Let me know what you think about it. Hope you guys check it out if you haven't already done so. Like I said, it's really worth a watch. 10 out of 10. And that's it for this one. Thank you for watching.